Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ike and welcome back to DivergeMC. This is episode 4 and I'm a little overdue, aren't I? It's been at least a year and a half since episode 3 and that wasn't intentional, I swear. I did want to get episode 4 out by the end of that year, but things got delayed. And I filmed this video several times and ended up just scrapping them because there wasn't enough to do. But I made a promise in my announcement video that I would get this episode out by the end of this year. So I have taken some time to think, and I think finally I have enough to do to pad out a whole episode. And that means that we're gonna have to go home to my island, which has changed quite a bit since last time we met. So down here in the main base, not much has changed. I think probably a couple extra villages and there's a bat somewhere. And over there, I've made myself a little cubby in the storage area. But other than that, not much has changed unless you look at the map. Notice it's a bit green from Mushroom Island. Because, yeah, I did it. I turned this thing to grass. And oh my god, this was an absolute nightmare to do. Because instead of like tearing out all the mycelium and placing the grass or dirt on top of it, I chose to turn the mycelium to grass paths with a shovel, and then turn the grass paths into farmland with a hoe, and then step on it until it turned into dirt, and then place grass blocks everywhere to slowly turn the whole place into grass. Which was stupidly unnecessary, but ultimately the place is grass without losing any of the original terrain, including that one random floating block. And today I want to work on this a bit further because it is empty. It's really bland, it's really boring, and I need to spruce it up somehow. And that's going to start with taking a quick nap. Well, that was refreshing. So I think a good place to start is to deal with this mess over here. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day Bearford made a big statue of my face, and I was moronic enough to break a block, and yes, it was a giant booby trap and blew up half this island, and I wasn't even recording it, which is the worst part. Okay. So we need to deal with this somehow, and I don't know the original terrain, but I've got dirt, I've got stone, and I've got some time to kill, so let's enter a time-lapse mode activated. Nyaw. And there we have ourselves one mound, a hill if you're really thinking about it. I'm pretty happy with the resulting product. I mean, it looks a bit weird. I think this is a bit bulky on the side here, but other than that, it vaguely resembles a hill of some kind, so it's a job well done, and it's kind of got me in a island fixated mood, because this island is a bit lackluster. There isn't much going on here. I've got that in the middle and then grass everywhere. I mean, the grass took forever to do, but I've not really done anything else to make over the island, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to head into a creative world where I can plan out some stuff and I don't know, just get a feel for some changes I can make to the island to hopefully improve the overall look of it. So, without further ado, initiate creative mode. Creative mode activated. This is just a single player backup of just my island. There's nothing else here. The void is just on the horizon here. But yeah, it's a backup. It's basically identical bar a couple of small things. And I'm going to use this to work on just testing things out to see how it figures. And I think the first thing I want to do, there's a lot of holes here. There's a lot of these random little, I say little, but the random bits of water around the place. And I feel like I want to get rid of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill it all in until we have a sort of flat grass area in which I can do a bit more. So without further ado, grass. Yeah, I'd say I'm actually quite happy with how this turned out. I think the flat grass really adds a lot of space to work with, because I want to industrialize the island. I want to have farms crammed in every little corner. So I think this flattening is a good idea. I was going to bone meal the whole island, but apparently when you bone meal on a mushroom island, you don't get any flowers. So instead, I think I'm just going to leave it how it is. And maybe start planning out some farms. Because honestly, I haven't even considered what farms I want to put in here yet. And how they could fit around the place. I'm going to get a good aerial shot of this, and then we can move over into paint or something to see what there is to work with. So I've taken this map of the whole island, and I've sort of planted out these key farms. I've got a sugarcane farm, an iron farm, a cacti farm, guardian farm, bamboo, slime, honey, lava, wool, and tree farm. I think these are some pretty useful farms, at least as a starting point, for directly on my island. So I've sort of laid them out. This is the sugarcane farm here. I've done that so that I can link it straight into my storage system, which is around here. I can do that pretty easily. And then I can have access to sugarcane and gunpowder here, and also that's inside the hill, so I can expand it fairly long here. I could probably flip it over to the other side as well. I'm going to need a lot of hoppers to do that. I'm going to need a lot of wood for this tree farm and iron from this iron farm. I've also got a slime farm here because there's these 3 slime chunks all next to each other. There isn't any 4 slime chunks around here, specifically on the island. This is the closest collection of slime chunks I could find. Then also down here, I've got this ocean monument right next to the island. So I really want to turn that into a guardian farm. So I want to be doing, I think, at least a farm this episode, maybe 2. I think a good something we can do is this iron farm and this tree farm, so we have the iron and the wood necessary for this sugarcane farm. I think that's a good place to start out today. And I've already got a schematic set up for the tree farm. So I think if we go straight in game now, we can get working on the tree farm, and then once we've done that, we can get some stuff together and do the iron farm. I think that's a really good plan, because I haven't really got a plan for today, but I think that's a really good plan to start things off with. So let's head in game and let's get sorting that out. Okay, so we're back here on Diverge, and we're wanting to put the farm right here. So first things we're gonna have to do is fill in this leg. I would fill in the entire thing at once, but I don't have the time nor the patience to do that. So I think we're gonna start off by just filling in this area here, and then we can get to work setting out where the farm's gonna be, and then we can get resource gathering, because it's not a particularly difficult farm to make, but it does take a fair bit of resources. So let's go. Okay, so that's this area fully flattened out, and now we can use Lightmatica to load in the tree farm, and just like that we have the farm in place. Now I'm not going to be using glass and white concrete. I'll be making it out of wood, but essentially speaking, all of the drops from the tree farm come right down into this central block, and from there I'll be able to link it up to the storage system over there, which could be a bit of a journey, but after all, this is the point of making the wood farm. So we have the wood to make the chests, to make the hoppers, to make connections like that. Okay, so here is our material list. So instead of stained glass and concrete, I'm just gonna do 500, I guess, logs or something. Let's see what we have in here. Got some oak. Some spruce. Spruce? Yeah, spruce. Some spruce. I was hoping to make it out of spruce wood, but looks like I'm gonna have to go and get some. This crap. Anywhere. There we go. So we'll go across the pond, and we can go grab some spruce wood. So 2 stacks of logs will make 4 stacks of planks, plus this, and I only need like 7.5 stacks of planks, so that's all good. And then we have extra wood for when we need to make the hoppers. It took a minute or two, but we have finally collected all the resources that we're going to need. I also slightly modified the schematic to use planks and furnaces and spruce fence gates. So hopefully it still works and I haven't screwed everything up. But it should be good to go. Also with the glass, I was just going to use plank for glass because I thought it was going to use glass like it does through the collection chamber, but actually the glass is used. Not sure if you can see it, it's used up there in one of those redstone towers, so the glass was useful, so I swapped out the glass for regular glass because I can't be bothered dyeing it. So apart from that, that should be absolutely everything we need. And I suppose there's only really one thing to do. Let's enter time-lapse mode. Nyong. Okay, so I've put the build on pause for a little bit because we have some problems. You may have noticed that I attempted to set up the TNT duper and blew the whole thing up, namely because I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to TNT dupers. But then I decided to go into the world download for this, and A, I never paid attention to how to actually run it, and B, it doesn't work. My modified design, which is supposed to cut corners, make things easier, has some fundamental flaws. Number one, furnaces, you can't pass a current through furnaces, so that causes a couple of issues. Most obvious issue is the bone meal dispenser, which is this one right here. This hopper clock, which is supposed to activate this hopper into this block and then into this, it doesn't because it doesn't take current through there. And also for some reason this keeps getting stuck in the world download, and also as I place down a spruce sapling, and I mean it just doesn't like, it just bone meals infinitely and nothing grows. So yeah, this is gonna be put on the shelf for a minute because it does not work and I cannot get it to work. I need to fix the design. Probably the best thing to do is just to build it following Illmango's steps directly, rather than just pasting in a schematic and trying to do it on my own. But yeah, unfortunately, for now, I'm going to have to just put this on pause, take a step back, and do something else in the meantime. Because this is a nightmare, and it's already taken. I've already been working on this for far longer than I thought it would. Because it's such a small build. It's deceptive. I kept falling off and dropping things and trying to position pistons. Because the way that you place pistons is not the way that I remember you place pistons. It's bizarre, and it's not working. So, Tree Farm is going to be put on hold. So now, what do? That's a really good question. I think I can probably get the iron farm done pretty quickly. Like an iron farms are so simple. I cannot mess it up, right? Right? So once again, first thing to start off with is turning this pond into flat land, which is going to take a bit of dirt and grass. And then you can start actually constructing it. So all we need to do is place in the grass. Not 100% grass, but we've got some dirt. So now we sort of want to plan out the area. Well, the plan, I've essentially allocated this chunk here. I'm not sure if it's enough, but we've got breathing room on either side. I suppose the next thing to do is to actually find a design that I'm happy with. So I've got the villagers, and that should be enough. So yeah, I'm gonna go find a design that I'm happy with and create a schematic, because using a schematic should work. It should work for this farm because it's not got any complicated moving parts. Okay, and that's our iron farm pasted in. Now you may be thinking, Ike, this is clearly made out of wood and clearly contains lava. And you're correct. But luckily for us, we have fire tick off. I'm not entirely sure why exactly, but we do. And I'm going to take full advantage of that. So I can get straight into building this. And there you have it, one iron farm, and it's already on the works. It's a very simple design. I'm going to step away because he's incredibly loud. It is a very simple design created by Wattles, and I've just changed it ever so slightly to be made out of spruce instead of mud bricks. That's the only difference. And just from that one iron golem, we got ourselves 3 iron ingots. And with this being loaded at all times while on my island, we should be getting a lot of iron really quick. I mean, as it stands, I already have quite a lot of iron, but you can never have too much iron. So that farm is going to be wearing away, along with the pumpkin farm, the gunpowder farm, the sugarcane farm, and this makeshift honey farm that I made just over there. It's very simple. If I can find some bottles, it really is just as simple as walking over here, collect honey, craft it into blocks if you really want, and then just leave it alone to char away in the background. It's not automatic, but it does the job. And speaking of jobs, that is this job done. For this will be posted, as you're watching it, at 12 PM GMT on the 31st of December 2022, which is in about 9 hours. So I should get to editing right now. So we had some disruptions along the way, farm not working, and oh, for God's sake, okay, I'll figure that out later. But all in all, this has been a fairly successful and productive episode, and I thank you very much for joining me. In the future, episodes should hopefully come out once a month, but I cannot say that for sure because of what happened last time. I said that I'd be doing an episode in a month. So, as it stands, DivergeMC will come whenever I can be bothered. But either way, thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, be sure to like, and if you've enjoyed the series so far, hit the subscribe button, because there is plenty more on the way, I hope. And without further ado, that is me done for today. Goodbye!